everyone, my name is Victoria FitzGerald. You've already heard from me during Jane's Walk to introduce you to our online platform, and now I'm here to introduce you to me and what I do. So welcome to my walk and talk, Think Like a Designer, my journey to landscape architecture in St. John's. When you think about available occupations in St. John's, Newfoundland as a student, your mind might immediately go to the Marine Institute, Naval Architecture, or Technician Studies. You may think about nursing, engineering, or music at Memorial, or a trade through Academy Canada. For anyone with interests outside of medicine, engineering, or nautical studies, you could feel at a loss of how to choose your degree, staying within the boundaries of St. John's. Don't get me wrong, there are dozens of excellent programs at Memorial University and throughout our province, just none that suited me. If you're like me, you wanted a degree program that celebrated artistic expression, was concrete with a set plan and schedule for graduation, and allowed you to better your community and world. I had no idea what job I was describing, so I applied to anything that I could think of that didn't make me want to cry. I applied to Grenfell College for a degree in the fine arts, St. Thomas University in Fredericton for undergraduate studies in English, general studies at Memorial University, and the Landscape Architecture Honors Program at the University of Guelph. I would love to tell you that growing up, I had always dreamed about being a landscape architect, and that I had a list of hundreds of inspiring architects I followed since I was 10 years old, with a longer list of parks and plazas that I wanted to visit. But I honestly had not a clue about the profession until I applied to the program. My mom had gone to the University of Guelph for kinesiology, so if I was going to move away from home, Guelph seemed like a comfortable transition since Mom could show me the ropes of the campus and community. I went on their website, looked around, and found a program that combined design, art, and the environment. It looked like it was made for me. Creative, helping the world, and a job. Why not apply? For those of you not familiar with landscape architecture, landscape architects analyze, plan, design, manage, and nurture the built and natural environments. Landscape architects have a significant impact on communities and quality of life. They design parks, campuses, streetscape, trails, plazas, and other projects that help define a community. Can you say Jane's Walks? I applied for early admission in November, and if you know me, you just said, yep, and was accepted the day I got my wisdom teeth taken out in April. It was an emotional day since my gums were dripping blood, I couldn't remember how I got home from the dentist, and this program was held to high esteem, being the only undergraduate program in Canada for landscape architecture at the time. And to top it off, it was one of the highest ranked universities across the country. For someone who always struggled in school, I felt immensely proud that I could call myself a Griffin. I accepted the offer and arrived in Guelph in September, checked into Lanark East residence, and started my career. I fell in love with my job at the University of Guelph, but being away from home made me love my province more than I ever thought I could. After one semester, I knew home was Newfoundland, and touching down my first Christmas after being away, I saw St. John's in a new light. It's funny how when you are thinking about something, you suddenly see it everywhere. This is what it was like for me coming home after studying. I saw granular walks, wide concrete joints, tree-lined streets, the Victorian light fixtures downtown, public art features, gazebos, beautiful fences, and plants. Just so many plants. I started thinking about things during my daily routines, like that stair tread was too deep, it wasn't comfortable to walk, and those pavers are all uneven. I worked through school every summer at a different landscape-related job. My first summer, I worked as a gardening assistant at Ballyhally Golf Course. My boss was amazing, and I learned the basic plant design with plants that work here in Newfoundland. My next summer, I worked at Flower Studio on Hebron Way, and I loved it. Here I learned color design, floral arrangements, and customer service skills. My next summer before fourth year, I worked with a local landscaping company. This was my first job I did real landscape architecture work, and was the first time I saw one of my designs come to life. My last year in school, I stalked Mills & Wright Landscape Architecture. I mean stalked. I emailed the owners, creeped their portfolios, and was lucky enough to meet them and attend a public house opening for Holyrood's new boardwalk. I went to school and continued to email them, not so subtly reminding them that I wanted to work with them as soon as I graduated. And then in March of 2018, they offered me a full-time position when I graduated in May. I knew I was lucky then, but I didn't know how lucky until now, really. I've been working with Mills & Wright Landscape Architecture for 2 years, and my definition of design has changed dramatically from the first shot I had at Ballyhally to my first built project in 3rd year. I think the most valuable thing I've learned so far was taught to me by my boss, Matthew Mills. He said that sometimes design isn't what you change, it's what you keep. Meaning sometimes the best solution for your design is doing nothing. Sometimes understanding the beauty of the landscape and preserving its unique qualities is better than over-designing and proposing things that may make it beautiful but don't fit the identity or its character. That is what St. John's landscapes are to me. Uniquely beautiful landscapes that don't need to be altered but need to be enhanced to reveal just how naturally beautiful they are. So here we are. My walk idea, Jane's Walk 2020. There are dozens of trails, landmarks, parks, and landscape features I'd love to lead you on. I want to walk you through Kitty Vitty to see the local landscape design work by Mills & Wright and Tract Consulting. I want to walk you through Victoria Park, drive up to the new Janeway entry features, talk about Bannerman Park and the skating loop, or tour through Bowring Park. There is just so much ground to cover, and I'm only a baby. I don't know the history of all these sites, but I would like to challenge you. I want you to walk in your neighborhood, around the lake, down to the plantation, through Bannerman Park, around downtown, up through Signal Hill, when it is all open and it is safe to do so, and think like a designer. I want you to think why the designer decided to face the bench the way they did. What are you looking at when you sit on it, and what did they want you to see? I want you to see a space as an event space, or open lawn, or recreation. What are you walking on right now? Why do you think the designer chose granular surfacing? Is it accessible? What plants are being used on the site? Are they thriving? What color palette did the designer choose? Does the sidewalk have a drop curb? Where are the crosswalks and where do they lead you? What types of lights are being used? Why do you think they chose that fixture? Do you see any site furniture, picnic benches? Do they match the vibe of the location they are in? What's with that stone wall and what is it holding up? Where are the bike racks placed? And why in the world did they cut down all of those trees? That design probably was not done by a landscape architect. I want you to choose a walk, take inventory of your surroundings, and analyze what you could do thinking like a designer to enhance the space. This might mean doing nothing. This might mean placing a simple bench to take in an ocean view. Maybe it's adding some trees along a busy street front or putting a fence up for privacy. But I really want you to think about what you want in your space, what it needs, how you can accomplish it with the environment, and design your community. I'll start. When you walk along what I call the bandstand side of the lake of Kitty Vitty, you'll come across a new development that has only been completed in the last 2 years. The layered hills retained by large boulders form multiple walkways that allow for rows of booths and tents to be set up on Regatta Day. The tiered pathways limit congestion lakeside, so you no longer must walk slowly behind a family of 4 carrying the prizes of 27 activity booths. Last year when I attended the regatta, as I do every year, I got my hot dog, my cotton candy, my nachos, my pizza, and my mandatory Regatta Day Mountain Dew, and was thrilled I could walk down the main trail without being bumped. Carrying so much food is a task, but dodging residents while carrying 3 meals is a different game. Anyway, the layers are divided up into planting beds, sodded areas, and have coniferous trees scattered amongst which, when grown, will cast excellent shade during these summer months. The trail itself is the same granular that exists on the main trail, so it ties in seamlessly to the rest of the lake, as it's been there since its original creation. The development captures the character of the lake perfectly, as it not only shares the same trail materials, but those fabulous boulders match the retaining stones that completely encircle the lake. They also act as a type of amphitheater seating to watch the races. It is a seriously cool and well-designed project that fits the needs of its users for large events such as the regatta, but also for everyday use. Especially during these times of social distancing, the extra tiers of trails makes avoiding people much easier. That sounds like a joke, but it's not. The project scope also included the new wharf viewing platform you see just down slightly from the bandstand. If you look at this structure, I'm sure you've noticed that its shape is long and linear and runs along the shoreline extending into the water like a rower's boat. The railing on this wharf is a simple but exceptional feature that allows people to lean on an angled plank of wood to comfortably watch the water. Most railings are flat, great to lay things down on, but lacked comfort when leaned on. This one was specifically designed with the intention of people viewing the lake in races in a leaning position as many of us do. Something so simple has such a huge impact on our comfort and how we use a space. Another example you can have a look at is the Janeway. I bet you didn't know that this seriously fabulous, bright and colorful, codfish-covered Janeway front entrance was designed by an environmental designer. The bright aluminum planters, the built-in benches, the wild natural plant design, painted concrete, and codfish were designed to bring a little fun and distraction to the front entrance of the Janeway Hospital. It was meant to offer a comfortable space to escape outside for staff and patients while creating a happy entrance to make the emergency doors a little less scary for those being admitted. The coolest thing I think, however, about this project is that it's solving a much larger issue than seating and a lack of plant life. It's creating a defined driving aisle and drop-off for patients. I'm sure we've all been up to the Janeway and have tried to cram our cars in places they don't belong, possibly between the Jersey barriers that once resided there. These planters act as a driving deterrent and direct traffic smoothly through the one-way drop-off area so children, doctors, nurses, and patients are safe. A lot of design decisions went into this project. You may look at them and think, that's a cool planter. I look at them and see minimum 600mm planting depth, multiple coats of paint, a sand coat on the benches to avoid slipping, heavy aluminum, and my favorite planter memory, you can just move that 2 inches to the left. The planters required several details to show how construction should occur, starting with the diameter of the planter and ending with the bolt size that holds it all together. Good design means good results, and this project was unique in character and fulfilling for its meaning. Landscape architecture doesn't always look like grassy parks and wooden benches. It's so much more. And in this case, it looked like fish on poles and neon colors. And I am biased, but I think it works. Your walk takeaways. I'm still learning, and I'm extremely passionate about my profession. There is so much to landscape architecture, and I've only scratched the surface for you today. Landscape architecture is plants, it's site furniture, lighting, parks, streets, sidewalks, trails. It's wayfinding and pergolas, master planning, tourism plans, residential design, commercial, plazas, theme parks, conservation. It's erosion control and global warming mitigation. It's consulting, and most importantly, it's happy, healthy, sustainable environments. It's designing a space that will never stop changing. When you design the environment, you are designing for right now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, and full grown. You need to know the sciences behind planting soils, pH levels, climate zones, and hardiness levels. You should have a handle on your math skills for your grading, slopes, and drainage. You need construction knowledge, like what type of wood works here with the rain and salt flying around all the time. And our wind is nuts, so structurally will your pergola hold? And once you get past all of the intellectual parts of the job, you get hit with some creativity. Can you design a functional, beautiful space that suits the needs of your clients and inspires people to be outside? That is what landscape architecture is. I hope you can use this little bit of newfound knowledge and look at our landscapes through the eyes of a designer. I hope you start thinking about St. John's, our parks, our streets and trails as opportunities to see the beauty in every design. I hope you see a painted bench and think, why? Or analyze the staircase to see how it was built. I hope you can see the effort and thought that goes into every project and want to get involved in creating better, character-driven, sustainable landscapes. I hope I inspired you to apply to a program that you know nothing about and find your passion.